Alrighty, folks. It is time for the Grand Prix Zakros quarterfinals. We're up against Platy People on Mono Black Control. We have a little bit of time while our opponent gets into the lobby. So while we wait, let's talk about what we're up against. Mono Black Control is on a very similar kind of game plan as to what we're doing. We're both on 4 copies of Data Weaver, 4 copies of Exorcist of Errors. They're on the full 4 Corpse Pyrofiends, whereas we're only on 3. Um, and we do have some enchantments in common. They have 1 more Phynax's touch than us, 1 less Pull of Tizerus than us. I believe we're on the 3 touches. Yeah. 1 less Pull of Tizerus than us, and we're both on 3 Path of Phynaxes. I'm on 3, right? Yeah, I'm on 3. So we're, very similar enchantment suites, very similar creature suites. We have more creatures than them, but they have 1 very critical enchantment that we're missing in Earthly Penchants. This is going to allow them to integrate usually the top card of our library, gradually building up a number of types integrated under it, so that way they can start drawing cards from Earthly Penchants and generating additional value from their own deck. Earthly Penchants does double duty, though, because it also allows them to start integrating cards from our library to play with Data Weaver. So Data Weaver is going to pull double duty here, not only in having a meaningful enter trigger and meaningful static ability, but also in terms of being able to generate additional value long term with not only Corpse Pyrofiends, which we've gotten to see a little bit of so far this run, but also with Earthly Penchants. So they're going to have a stronger value engine lower on the curve in that regard. They do also have a very strong mass removal spell that we don't really have access to in Damned to Hell, which is going to allow them to deal damage and gain life equal to the number of swamps they control, plus the number of cards in their graveyard with a cycling ability. And they can divide that damage as they please among any number of target creatures and or planeswalkers. What that means for us is that they're going to have this massive damage, massive removal and life gain bomb to flip the board state in their favor, even if we're ahead. And between these cards having Swamp Cycling and their 4 copies of Laystone of Ruin also having cycling, they're going to be able to juice it not just with their swamps, but also with their cycling cards. And they're also on 4 copies of Heap Ludicon as an additional threat. Otherwise, they're only on 1 Chronicle, which I think is good for us, but they've got a lot of scary tools. And that's not even talking about their sideboard, which we will get to after game 1. So yeah, we are jumping into this match here. I think their main deck is a little bit better than ours in terms of this particular matchup, but Revolt of the Palace is something they're going to struggle to answer. So Revolt will be very meaningful in terms of flipping the script here. And we are also going to start on the play. And I'm also going to make sure that I drop a shout out of the match beginning in the GP chat. I almost rolled dice just on instinct. Oh, Lord, not like this. This is not how we want to start here. This is a 0 land hand. Double Revolt of the Palace, double Phynax's Touch, Path of Phynax. If the Leyshard and Chronicle were lands, I would keep this, even just on like double Phynax's Touch, but we gotta mulligan this. So go to 6, and we see a 1-lander. The downside here is our opponent's on a 25 lands deck. We're on 22, so we are definitely greedier on that front. And this is a hand with no castable spells. We got to go down to 5. Not a good start. And that's another 1-lander. Oh, good lord. This is not how I wanted my quarterfinals to go. I think we have to keep this on double Pull of Tizerus, Phynax's Touch, and either keep Ominous Slaughter or Path of Phynax. We're going to have to keep 5, though. We're going to ship Chronicle of Extinction for sure. They say the Corpse Pyre is going to be very weird. That is definitely true, but not if this is our start here. I think with the double Pull of Tizerus, there's an argument to keeping Omen and Path and just dropping a Pull here, because Pull's not going to have a lot of hits early. Yeah, let's drop the Pull. And Phynax's Touch to kick it off. And then we just have to hope that our deck is kind. They pitch a Laystone of Ruin here. Heap Ludicon tapped is their turn 1. We will untap and draw. Second Swamp is huge here. Let's go ahead and play it. And pass. In response to enter trigger. I think we just have to Omen of Slaughter this. They're going to effectively get to peek at our whole hand this way, but they will not get to keep the card that they exile. I'm just clarifying this in chat. Just getting that clarification out there. Because it is until this leaves the battlefield is the specific wording there, and that I believe is in our favor. If not, then we just let them take something, and then we just crack Phoenix's Touch. All right, we're going to go ahead and Omen of Slaughter here. I'll just reveal my hands to them for ease and communicate as such. So they know about Pull of Tizerus and Path of Phoenix. I'm going to keep this visible as well, just so that way I can track what knowledge they have. We will untap and draw Revolt of the Palace. Oh, and that's really awkward when we're missing land drops. So this tells them with near certainty that we missed a land drop here, which gives them an opportunity to try and hit us with a Data Weaver. If they Data Weaver, that begs a question of, do we fire off the Phoenix's Touch before or after? Oh, this is Corpse Pyre Fiend. Second Heap Ludicon, no other plays. Crack the Phoenix's Touch. We lose a life, draw a card. Athreos, not what we need to see here. Untap, draw. Gates the Underworlds. That is our third land drop here. And I'm going to pull this without hesitation. So that is going to kill the Corpse Pyre Fiend. And now all they know about is Path of Phoenix. I kind of wish we could wait and hit them with an Athreos here, but I don't want to let them get anything integrated. Because if they integrate Phoenix's Touch, if they get to integrate Laystone or Exorcist, then that gives them the opportunity to try and get Data Weaver set up. Fourth land for the opponent. This is going to be the first time we get Athreos down in play. Second Corpse Pyre Fiend, good lord. And they just pass, so I believe they're holding up double integrate. No creatures with keywords to be worried about, so this is just going to be a 3-2. We untap, we draw another Path of Phoenix. We could go Path of Phoenix, just strand them with one card in hand. Is that better than developing Athreos? Yeah, I think that's better than developing Athreos, especially because we can go Path of Phoenix into Path of Phoenix, fill their graveyard so we can start getting value off of these. Yeah. So Path of Phoenix, we can also close our hand now that they know that this is coming down. So, missing a land drop again, but they drop second Laystone Swamp, milling pull. So, second Path of Phoenix is going to make it so we can almost guarantee the Corpse Pyre Fiend or Heap Ludicon dies to a Pull of Tizerus off of the third chapter here. That is pretty good for us. They're almost certainly going to level up Heap Ludicon here, barring something important in their hand. If they do level up Heap Ludicon, that's going to be their entire turn. I'm nearly certain. Integrating the pulls. Okay, so that is something relevant, is they can use Corpse Pyre Fiend to keep them off of Path of Phoenix. and they're going to get the pulls set up so we can't eat it out of their graveyard. That is something worth noting, is that Corpse Pyre Fiend can stop Path of Phoenix from being value in that regard. So yeah, so these are integrated. They draw. If they fire up Heap Ludicon, I'm probably just ripping the Path of Phoenix here. Looks like that's what's happening. So we're going to be under a bit of fire. We're taking 5 here. But us taking 5 means that we get to shred the last cards in their hand and strand them on top deck mode. And Path is going to gain us some life. Another Heap Ludicon, goodness gracious. So we untap, draw Primal Fissure. We gain 2, deal 2. Let's play that Primal Fissure. Let's play Path of Phoenix number 2. It's going to put exactly 8 cards in their graveyard, so they're going to almost certainly hold up. We hit Damned to Hell from their hand, mill Earthly Penchant's Swamp. I can't say with certainty if I'm thrilled about that, but at the very least, we have them empty-handed. I think I'm in the position to want to revolt the Palace next turn. Or rather, hold Primal Fissure and not crack it immediately to try and find land drops to get to Revolt of the Palace next turn. They draw land and play it, so that gives them the option. They could just double level up the Heap Ludicon, get it to a 6/8, push 3 damage in. But if they do that, they deny themselves the opportunity to shut off Path of Phoenix with Corpse Pyre Fiend, which makes me think that they have got to go for the Path of Phoenix denial route, which means Heap Ludicon maybe gets a counter here, but they do not get to push. They do not get to push this up to a 6/8 immediately. We're going to take 5. If they let this resolve, okay, they're going to level up Heap Ludicon once. And let's see what they use Corpse Pyre Fiend on. Untap. Draw. Main phase 1. Response to sagas, yeah. So yes, they're going to eat something from their graveyard. I may respond and fire off this Omen of Slaughter now. Because the argument is they... Hold on. So in response to activation, Exorcist still in graveyard. I'm going to Omen of Slaughter. So they have to commit to the second activation now, and then lose the Corpse Pyre Fiend, or they have to lose the Heap Ludicon. Either way, they're committing to this activation. Okay, so they're eating Damned to Hell and Exorcist of Errors. So they're eating Damned to Hell. Abilities for Sagas still on the stack. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I need to activate this now. We're going to go find a Plains, I think. So 3/4 lifelink. This goes away. Did they take the 2? Not yet. We gain 2. They take 2. It'll go to combat. Push 3. Swing up 3. They take 3. And this is a creature land beat down here. Let's just reset power and toughness. The downside here is that they're going to be able to push this up to 8 here. Oh, no. Cycling Laystone of Ruin is going to put us up to 8. And then they level up. They put Swamp into play, level up Heap Ludicons. That is a 6/8. That is a really meaningful clock now. But they just put us to Path of Phanex being online. We take 6. Concern is that I want to eat the Earthly Pensions to get the value engine up, but I don't think I have the time. And it's cast, so we can't just take a land drop and slam Revolt of the Palace. We untap, upkeep, draw. Coalesced Mesa means we're going to get the Revolt of the Palace down. Question is, do we get the Revolt down, or do we try and get Athreos Corpse Pyre Fiend in? Because if we get Athreos Corpse Pyre Fiend, we can block with the Fiend, exile it under Athreos, and gain 1, deal 1. That buys us a turn while getting Athreos rolling. And I think then we hold the Coalesced Mesa. So if they go top deck... if they top deck Exorcist of Errors, I reveal the Revolt of the Palace, try and bait them into hitting the Coalesced Mesa. Alternatively, I can pay 2 to animate this. No, that's just bad. That's just bad. I go to 13. They can chip me down a pretty good deal here. I think it's going to be Athreos Corpse Pyre Fiend. Yeah. I guess I could have animated Gates to the Underworld for 2 there and then played Fiend second main after swinging with the Gates. Pay 2, animate swing Gates. Yeah, that could have been good. But I think getting the Athreos in play is just better. It's going to make Gates easier to activate moving forward as well. We just have to fade a top deck Exorcist of Errors then. So let's reset the power and toughness, get this Corpse Pyre Fiend into play. Also, just while I'm thinking about it, let's make this card viewer a little bit bigger. Athreos, Gold-Eyed. Not a creature currently, but we are at 6 devotion. So they draw another land. So they can level up one of their Heap Ludicons twice. Push, swing a 6/8 and a 2/4. Goodness gracious, this is getting out of hand very quickly. And with both of our omens in play, our ability to deal with these Heap Ludicons meaningfully is dwindling fast. The one upside is them drawing lands means they are not drawing their value engines. Closing graveyards for the moment, because I suspect they will not matter. Yeah, they're going to level up Heap Ludicon. Does not shock me whatsoever. Let's get these graveyards back. I don't know why I closed them. Other question is, do they level up this one again, or do they level up this one? They're leveling up their other Heap Ludicon. All right. So they're going to push. I think we have to take this block. We take 2, gain 1. We'll put a coin counter on it. Go to second main. Right now we are banking on a good hit with Revolt of the Palace. We will draw Pull of Tizerus. Do we Pull of Tizerus something here? We can Pull of Tizerus one of their 2/4 heap Ludicons, exile it with Athreos, gain 1, deal 1, push damage with Gates to the Underworld. That's 3 + 1. We go up to 13, which means a second heap Ludicon fully leveled up would require another land drop, would require them to seriously be overdrawing lands, and that would only put us to 1. It wouldn't outright kill us. But it means we are banking another turn on this Revolt of the Palace in hand. Alternatively, we wait and alternatively we stop waiting and we just jam the Revolt of the Palace now. If we jam the Revolt of the Palace now, they have 10 damage on board. We do not have anything that can gain us life, so yeah, we're dead on board. If we cannot get something meaningful off Revolt here, so I think we need to take the assured line here, which is going to be Pull of Tizerus and potentially even hold up Gates to the Underworld for blocks, but I don't think that's a good idea with it just guaranteeing that we lose the Gates if we do so. So we're going to Pull of Tizerus one of the 2/4s. So we're going to go to 10 to 10. We'll attach it here and put a coin counter on it. Animate Gates. And swing 3. Main 2. Pass. So we're not in a super great position here, but they are going to have to get a land specifically to put us to 1. Oh my god, they hit another land. Yeah, so we go to 1. It is now do or die. God, the extra land draw is crazy. I think we need Revolt of the Palace to flip into Corpse Pyre Fiend specifically. Because if we have Revolt flip into Corpse Pyre Fiend, we can Revolt of the Palace will animate Athreos. We can swing Athreos, put another Corpse Pyre Fiend into play to have the 2 blockers. Actually, hold on. I was going to say, is there a way we win this? Because they're at 7. Primal Fisher's not going to do it. Yeah, we need Revolt of the Palace to hit exactly Corpse Pyre Fiend. Because then we swing, put them to 2. The blockers mean that even if they remove our blockers, we win. Because every blocker they remove, we gain 1, deal 1. Actually, no, if they have removal for a single blocker, they win because they die. We die on state-based actions, and Athreos is a triggered ability. We gotta cross our fingers for a good draw for us and a bad draw for our opponent. Come on, Revolt. Show me one of the 3 Corpse Pyre Fiends of our own. Yeah, that's not going to do it. We have Path of Phoenix, but if only we could get Path of Phoenix up to the next chapter here. Yeah, it really needed to be specifically Corpse Pyre Fiend. So we're gonna go through the motions. Put these on the bottom. Let's at least make them mill. Okay, they mill Phoenix's Touch Swamp. So they were drawing Phoenix's Touch to kill us through anything. That's notable. We go to combat, swing, unattach, remove counter. They go to 2. Oh, 1 turn away. But they applied enough pressure, and we were going to be in an awkward spot going into game 2. But that was on a 5-card hand, on a 1-lander on a 5-card hand. So if that's what we can do on a 1-lander 5-card hand, I'm feeling pretty optimistic. Second Athreos, definitely in. Psyhawk's Inklight Dancers are probably not going to be as good in this matchup. Chronicle of Extinctions are coming in. And then the one other thing I need to think about is if I want any copies of the Fall of Trax. So one of the things that I've mentioned a couple times is that the last chapter of this card is a big anti-synergy with a lot of the things in our deck. But one of the things that is notable is that because their value engine is built around Data Weaver, we actually have the answer for Data Weaver engines in our own deck. The problem is I don't know if that's going to be our best bet. Also, I'm just now realizing a Time-Worn Crags to deal with those Heap Ludicons at any time would have been phenomenal. And that was something I already knew of, but just, man, would have loved the Time-Worn Crags. So definitely like the second Athreos, definitely like the 2 Chronicles. I could look at maybe Soul Guide Lantern as just a way to nuke their graveyard in response to a bunch of Corpse Pyre Fiend activations, but because they can fiend one at a time, Lantern's not super effective and Archival Storage can't stop it. I wonder if it's Zakros Decree. Like, they have the big life gain bomb, and we're not going to always be getting a lot of stuff on the board. So I don't know how good Zakros Decree can be against them. But the life gain from Gates of the Underworld was really impactful there, so it's Decree or Fall, I think. I think we're going 1 Fall. I could see a second. So talking about their sideboard real quick, they have 2 copies of Click, not going to be very good against us. Primarily meant to deal with tokens quickly. Pull of Tizerus, not very good against us. Solis Syndicate Pariah can be very effective against us. But they only have 1 copy of that. 2 Cull Populace is not good against us. The Duresses are very good against us. Forced Shutdown, pretty good against us as well. And then Forget Their Names, not super important here. So they have some very, very relevant sideboard cards here. But I think 1 Fall of Trax... I don't like having only 1 of the Silver Bullets, but I think... like, that's better than the third Athreos. That's probably better than the first Zakros Decree. Let's call it there. And then as far as my opponent's sideboarding plan, I have to imagine Duresses, Forced Shutdown, Solis coming in as the 6. Downlink Overload can probably go, and then as far as the other 5 cuts, I'm not really sure what, but I'll play... Okay. This is a reasonable amount of lands. We don't get the game started on turn 1 or 2, but that means that we can play this Stark Expanse tapped and kind of just sit here chill. Double Sealing Strike, Data Weaver, Athreos is a lot of potential bombs to be dropping early. Keepable 7. Stark Expanse and pass. So opponent is going to draw here, see what they've got for their first land. Heap Ludicon's a really reasonable land drop on turn 1. If it is a Phoenix's Touch, I'd probably discard a Sealing Strike. Something I do need to be mindful of with Corpse Pyre Fiend, I need to not let Athreos go to my graveyard. I cannot discard Athreos. They do have Phoenix's Touch, so I'm glad I discussed what I would be discarding to this. Because I can just make that choice. I know that's what I need least right now. So we will untap and draw Pull of Tizerus here. We will just go ahead and play Primal Fisher. If they have another Phoenix's Touch, we will just discard the Pull of Tizerus. Otherwise, they'll probably duress a Sealing Strike if they have the ability to. I'm going to hold on the Primal Fissure and just draw through my next card. Just because if it's a land, I'm fine getting the 4th land drop. I think that's important enough. Earthly Penchants coming down here, that is going to be a problem, but that is fine. Might be a merit for not leading on Athreos, but this is not immediately going to generate value, so we can wait on the Sealing Strike for a turn. Let's draw Path of Phaenax. We could look at firing that off instead, but I don't think we want to rush that out right now. So let's crack Primal Fissure, go find a swamp, play Coalesced Mesa, and I think we just want to get Athreos out before they can do anything about it. Because then we can Data Weaver onto it next turn, try and find a land drop. And I think we're just going to let Earthly Penchants have a couple turns, take a couple cards. The only reason to be worried about that is if they play a Data Weaver, and then we can just try and kill the Data Weaver instead. So we're deciding on targets here. Integrating themselves. They get a swamp. So they're clearing their top card. Making a land drop. 3 mana. Path of Phaenax. Ooh. Probably Pull of Tizerus and our own path. Let's take a peek at what... let's open up our graveyard since they're going to have the availability of this. So definitely thinking Pull of Tizerus can go. And then probably our own Path of Phaenax. Because right now we're very low on things sitting in their graveyard. Yeah, it's going to be our own Path of Phaenax, milling Desolate Path and a second Pull of Tizerus. All right, and they pass. We will untap, draw Lay Shard. Makes me think I want to go Data Weaver, fish for a land drop here. Target them. Swamp. Salice. We hit the one of Salice. I didn't see where they went. Oh, they're behind my graveyard here. The one of Salice is huge here. So we're going to have to play this swamp. So if we find the one Fall of Tracks currently, it is going to be really bad for us. But I think that's fine. Like, Salice is going to be monumental here. We pass, and if they kill our Data Weaver, we just get to tuck it under Athreos. And we get to offset the damage we take from Path of Phaenax here. They're integrating themselves, hitting a second Path of Phaenax. We take 2. Off of Path of Phaenax, they gain 2. I'm thinking I'm going to go just Sealing Strike on Earthly Pensions here, especially if they like Windmill Slam Data Weaver here. Like, if they Windmill Slam Data Weaver, put the cards on Earthly Pensions, that is a free Sealing Strike target for us. Heap Ludicon tapped. Second Path of Phaenax. Okay, that is going to complicate things. They're going to get to start using these cards. So we're going to discard Sealing Strike and Lay Shard, milling Lay Shard, Exorcist of Errors. So we're in the opposite position of where we were last game, where we have the board advantage, but they have ripped our hands to shreds. We will untap, draw. Corpse Pyre Fiend is the draw. Oh my goodness. We can Corpse Pyre Fiend, integrate Desolate Path, play it tapped, hold up and integrate, and then integrate Path of Phaenax onto Athreos. Or we integrate Sealing Strike. That's a tough call. I think we want to make the land drop here, though. So, very glad we found the Corpse Pyre Fiend here. We're going to use it to play the Desolate Path here. Push 2. I don't think we want to give them an opportunity to get around our Corpse Pyre Fiend. They're going to get to take a card here. Eating a Pull of Tizerus is pointless because they will just get to get around the Pull of Tizerus one way or another. Or they'll just get to get a Pull of Tizerus one way or another if they want. They could also grab a Sealing Strike, which makes me think... I'm going to hold off on any integrate until I know what they're casting the spell on or what they're targeting with it. So they can try and Sealing Strike deny Athreos, or they can try and Pull of Tizerus shut down our engine. And either way, I want to maneuver around that. So it is actually in my best interest to not rush my choice here. Integrating another Swamp, so Earthly Pension's not going to draw them a card yet. They're putting on Finax's Touch. Seems a little weird, admittedly. Because Finax's Touch is not something you want to keep around for good. So we'll take 2, they gain 2. You'll take a Pull of Tizerus. Question is, what are they going to pull? If they pull Corpse Pyre Fiend, I just integrate in response and I just get something that I can cast next turn. They're going to pull onto Data Weaver. In that case... I think I just let that happen. Like, I don't need a Corpse Pyre Fiend then, because Corpse Pyre Fiend's not under threat. And Data Weaver only lets me play cards at sorcery speed anyways, or rather, on my turn anyways. Gets a counter, we deal 1, gain 1. And now we can shut off Path of Finax, at the very least. And the upside of Coalesced Mesa. That's a white source that can activate Corpse Pyre Fiend here. Sitting on 4 cards in hand. We can't play the Silice right now. They are going to have their own Data Weaver here. So they're going to take Ominous Slaughter, Exorcist of Errors. Very awkward for us. Assuming they play one of their own swamps. Presumably the one off of Finax's Touch here. They're going to put Ominous Slaughter under the Finax's Touch. Putting Exorcist of Errors under the Earthly Penchant. And then they will play the swamp. Let's eat the... what happened to the Pull of Tizerus? They used Pull of Tizerus off of our card. Hold on. Pull into the graveyard as well. Okay, it was sitting there. Well, it was a good thing I was investigating that. So activate. I will eat. I'll eat a pull. Toggle normal untapping. Put this under Athreos. Untap. Draw. Time-worn Crags. Well. Time Worn Crags up. I think I'm just going to jam 3. Because I don't mind them leveling up the Heap Ludicon next turn if that's what they spend their turn doing. If they take the block on Data Weaver, I will just happily pump some mana into integrating a bunch of things. Let's swing 3. See if they block. If they block, they still take 2, and we just fire off the Corpse Pyrofiend's choice early. They're just going to take 3. That's fine. All right. Well, we just kind of chill. I maybe shouldn't have run out the Time Worn Crags, but I kind of want to just have the Corpse Pyrofiend activation up for as long as possible, for as many activations as possible. Integrating themselves again. They hit Cull Populace. They are running Cull Populace here. So that's only going to cull Data Weaver right now. They do draw 2. Path of Phaenax trigger. I'm going to try to eat my Pull of Tizerus. So this just goes under Athreos. And Path of Phaenax stopped. So this costs 3 and tap to activate. So if they go for Heap Ludicon, we just blow up the Heap Ludicon here. Okay, so they're casting Ominous Slaughter. I'm going to take my Sealing Strikes, Primal Fissure, and their Path of Phaenaxes here. Just a long conga line of integrated cards. This dies. I gain 1, deal 1. So many things hiding on this Athreos. Only 2 of them have counters on them. Goodness gracious. Yeah, and that Cull Populace hit was very awkward. They're going to play a second Data Weaver. Okay, so Swamp, Gates to the Underworld. Gates is awkward for us, but Swamp is lovely to see go by. And if they play the Gates, that's going to make Time Worn Crags easier to play on future turns. Yeah, they're going to play Gates. So Time Worn Crags now cheaper. All right, we take 2. They have the strong value proposition, but that's been true for a lot of the games since they got to fire off double Path of Phaenax. We could have had a bit more of a grip on this game if we had gone Path of Phaenax on 3 instead of Athreos, but I think I really am just glad we got the Athreos in play. This thing is really giving us a lot of leeway. We will untap, draw Phaenax's Touch. We can play Phaenax's Touch, make them discard a card and lose 1. cracking it leaves up Time Worn Crag's activation. And then we just hold the activation for the end of their turn. Because while we could get something important off of Phoenix's Touch here to play this turn, I would rather just hold up Time Worn Crags, scare off the Gates to the Underworld, or heap Ludicon activation. They're integrating themselves again. Pull of Tizerus under, presumably, Phoenix's Touch, or, oh wow, they're just putting it on Earthly Penchants. So not under Ominous Slaughter, not under Phoenix's Touch. There is a real clock here. There is a real meaningful clock. Because they've got 4 on board, plus Heap Ludicon and or Our Gates to the Underworld. I'm still so bummed about game 1 being the way that it was, even with how close it was. I just wish I had not had that one lander. I have been feeling some of the pain of this being a 22 lands deck. And that's even with some of our games where we have gotten up to a high land count pretty reliably. They're going to play one of their own swamps off of their first Weaver. Yeah, that's right. They get to play 2 cards a turn off of Data Weavers as well. So not finding a clean answer to that is its own problem. One of the reasons to consider not cracking Phoenix's Touch is that it helps us build up to Athreos, which could be worthwhile. But I think we really need to see something important off of our library here. So they could play another Path of Phoenix, get us to 6 cards in library, then Phoenix's Touch puts us to 7. They're going to play a Corpse Pyre Fiend from their hand. Oh no. I'm very glad I ate their Path of Phoenixes. They're going to take a Ley Shard. So they're going to take and play Ley Shard here, which is interesting. Just deciding that the things I have exiled right now are not meaningful enough. They're animating Gates to the Underworld here. So one thing to be wary of here is if we hit the Gates to the Underworld, that gets exiled under Athreos, but then Corpse Pyre Fiend can start looping Time Worn Crags. So it is beneficial to try and go for the kill on this, but it does provide them that resource on future turns with Corpse Pyre Fiend. I think I'd like to draw off of Phoenix's Touch before I make any other decisions. It's a Path of Phoenix, not the best. Path of Phoenix kind of just fuels Corpse Pyre Fiend here. I think we do just have to go for it, though. So that will gain us 1, deal 1 to the opponent. So let's reset power and toughness. Let's clear the annotation because that is just ours. Put a counter on it. And then that's just exiled for good because Athreos only puts creatures into play. And then we take 4. Yeah, Corpse Pyre Fiend, real problem for us. We need to draw an answer for it. If we can find a Pull of Tizerus, no, we can't because I think. No, we have 2. We have 2 of 3 gone. We still have 1 we could draw. We untap, we draw. Primal Fisher's just not it. Goodness gracious. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Play Primal Fisher tapped. Yeah, we're just in a losing proposition here. Path of Phoenix. Yeah, maybe running out of Athreos early was the mistake. We've got a lot of cards sitting under it, but nothing to do with it. So yeah, so they lose Corpse Pyre Fiend, Swamp, mill over Phoenix's Touch, Exorcist of Errors. I just don't think it matters. They can... No, they have lethal. They have lethal on board, I think. They can pay 3, animate, Heap Ludicon, push 9, take me to 2, and then the Ley Shard plus land drop means they can integrate Finax's Touch, play Finax's Touch, integrate their Finax's Touch, play Finax's Touch. And if they hit one off of Earthly Penchants here, that just saves them a mana, and they don't even need to do that. But Ley Shard can find them a land drop. So, yeah. So, the Time Worn Crag's looping thing, not going to matter. We're just in an awkward spot. Just unfortunate set of draws here. Wow, they're cracking Ley Shard on end step? So they're going to draw. I guess they can just integrate the Ley Shard if they would like. They're eating Corpse Paraffin from their graveyard. That doesn't really give them the setup. They needed to integrate Phoenix's Touch here. They're integrating from me. Oh my god. Well, on the bright side, they are now still in need of that extra land drop. Whew. Yeah, this is profoundly rough. I am a known mono black control hater. Which I guess makes it a little weird that I chose to bring something so adjacent to it this month. I wanted to give something like this strategy a try because I am of the opinion I think mono black control is just the shell here with Data Weaver, Corpse Pyre Fiend, Exorcist of Errors is just so strong. Yeah, they see the line. They had the land drop. They can just play both. They're unattaching 1. So we go to 10. I want to make them see the line. And then yeah, Heap Ludicon. Put that Heap Ludicon up in front, and yeah. Yeah, down in 2. Atheros turn 1 was probably the wrong play. But what can you do? Well, I think that is a wrap on Grand Prix Zakros for me. Congrats to Platy on the win, and good luck to Platy on the semifinals and possibly finals. I know Platy's next opponent is going to be Dr. Chipmunk here going into the semifinals. And I will do what I can to spectate and commentate the finals match. So there will still be one more video hopefully coming as far as gameplay is concerned for this GP, but otherwise the final thoughts will be coming up very shortly. So I have some things to unpack. I will do what I can to not complain about Chronicle of Extinction because it was not overbearing here. It is still a card that I deeply dislike playing against, and I have found that the experience of me playing Chronicle is that it's almost always mediocre for me and almost always oppressive for my opponent. But that's just the nature of powerful control tools. There's so much to consider with the control tools, and the shell around it and the environment around it is really important. So that's all of the like real anything remotely whinging about Chronicle of Extinction that I'll say for now. But yeah, tough match. Very strong deck from the opponent, doing the things that we're trying to do, but I would argue just a little bit better. Not trying to sculpt their deck around Revolt of the Palace gives them the freedom to include more powerful instants and sorceries, but more importantly, gives them the freedom to really hone in on the integrate package. And there are things that their deck just does better than mine that my deck could be doing. Having more lands, as that first game showed, would have been very important. But also just Earthly Penchants The nerf from 1 mana to 2 mana did not knock out this card's strength. It is not going to come down turn 1 and be ubiquitous, but this is absolutely still one of the best value engines in the format right now, and especially when paired with Data Weaver. It's no wonder that Platy has gotten to charge up to this top cut with this strategy. So again, well played to Platy, and well played to everyone who participated in this GP, both those who, like myself, have now been knocked out, either in the Swiss rounds or in the top cut, and good luck to everyone who is still in contention for the finals crown. I look forward to spectating the rest of the GP, and I will see you all in the final thoughts. Take care, everyone.